E3 is less than a week away, and that means we are finally going to see more Halo Infinite footage, and hopefully Halo Infinite multiplayer. And I figured, with less than a week away, what time better than now to hop into the most recent Halo game, Halo 5. Alright, so we're playing some Halo 5. I haven't played Halo 5 in quite some time. But, you know, when Halo 5 came out, I won't lie, I had my fun with it. Now, unfortunately, I did fall off of Halo 5 probably within the first year, seriously, and then since then I've only played here and there, kind of to check back in, but nothing serious. The first thing that I noticed right off the bat is after playing MCC on PC, or just MCC in general now, and having, holy lord. Oh my god, I'm so rusty. But having the leave me alone. But having the option to increase your FOV is a godsend. Going back to the default Halo 5 FOV is a struggle. So in case you're wondering, like, about the score or kind of the lobby, we are playing Halo 5 Forge, which is the PC version of Halo 5 that just has a customs browser. So technically there are mods to increase the FOV on Halo 5 Forge, but one, they for some reason always make my game crash more, and two, I figured that this was like more authentic, you know, to play it the way more so that it's played on console. It's still a little bit different, but you get more of the gist, I feel, playing it with the vanilla settings. Otherwise, I could increase the FOV. You can change other stuff with the exuberant mod too. So obviously, I don't usually have much Halo 5 footage or Halo 5 videos on the channel, and it's not necessarily because I dislike Halo 5. A lot of it's just honestly, I just haven't really had the motivation or desire to really play games on Xbox anymore. I pretty much do all of my gaming like exclusively on PC, so since the game isn't on PC, I just haven't touched it in a while. But like I was saying at the start of the video, I did really enjoy Halo 5 when it came out. I know a lot of people have issues with some of the mechanics of Halo 5, and I understand why people have issues with it, but most of my issues with Halo 5 were actually not gameplay related, but they were issues with the content and, you know, the maps, and just the fact that at the time not many of my friend group really played Xbox games, so I was kind of playing Halo 5 and kind of grinding it all on my own. Obviously I met people, but it wasn't quite the same as just launching up whatever PC game at the time and just like playing it with my buddies. Had Halo 5 been on PC from the start, or even when Halo 5 Forge came out, had they given it a proper PC release, not only do I think I would have probably kept playing it, I think it could have been fairly successful on PC. I think it's honestly a bummer that Halo 5 never got a chance to be successful on PC, because even if they port it now, or even if they port it sometime after Infinite comes out, it's clearly missed the boat. It needed to come out years ago when Halo 5 was still fresh. But I guess it is what it is. Obviously, you can't change that now, and at least we're getting Halo Infinite on PC at launch, which is going to be hopefully huge for Halo to actually have a new Halo game on PC at the launch of the game. This is 100% different than MCC coming to PC because it's new. Halo Infinite's gonna have the hype of actually being a brand new game, whereas MCC is just porting old games. You know, obviously people are so glad that they ported MCC, and I definitely am, but it'll be a totally different ball game with Infinite. If Infinite's a good game, or even if Infinite's just average, I think between like the Xbox player base and the PC player base, I think we could be in a pretty good spot in terms of population and everything like that. I will say, and I'm sure if you play a lot of Halo 5, you can instantly tell, I have not kept up on the advancements of Halo 5's movement tech. I see clips here and there, and I always think like, whew, seems like a lot of button clicks, but I haven't really advanced my knowledge of Halo 5 movement beyond the first 6 or so months of the game when I was still playing, so I'm not very good at this game, and I mean, I would never tell you otherwise. I haven't played it since 2016 at any serious capacity. I do really hope, and I think some Halo 5 fans will disagree with this because they have with me in the past, but I really hope that Halo Infinite has a better map pool. I think that was one of the biggest things that really held Halo 5 back, obviously beyond just the lack of content, but it was just the maps that we were getting weren't that good. There's really only a few of the default base maps that I think are truly good. Like, I think Coliseum's a decent map, and a lot of people like Plaza, and I don't mind it. And there's a couple others. I think some people like this map, but I always thought this map is just pretty average. But even on the upper end with Coliseum, there's just no Halo 5 map that I truly think was like an outstanding map that completely added to Halo, the franchise of Halo's overall like greatest maps or anything like that. I think that is definitely one of the weaker aspects of Halo 5. And I think part of the reason that it was like that is because Halo 5 was so competitive focused that 343 really tried to make sure all these maps were balanced. And I think they did a good job of that. I think the maps did play balanced, but I think when you focus on that so hard, you lose some of the aspects of fun that you can get when a map has unbalanced parts or unbalanced locations or just, you know, is in general unbalanced. I think there's a certain charm to those kind of maps, because if you look back at the older maps of Halo, they're not all perfectly balanced maps. Obviously, one that is pretty balanced is like Midship over the years, which is also in Halo 5, but there's been plenty of maps that people love that aren't very balanced. A lot of people like High Ground, and High Ground, especially if you're playing Team Slayer on Halo 3, that shit's so unbalanced, but a lot of people still like the map because not every map needs to be perfectly balanced. Sometimes it's good to have a map where if you get the power position, you can just snowball that into a victory. And this doesn't even go into the fact that I still cannot believe that Halo 5 did not get a single developer-made BTB map. It relied completely on Forge, and even the arena maps in the later years have relied on Forge. The Sanctuary remake that is in the HCS playlist, along with other maps in a lot of the ranked playlists, are all Forge maps. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love Forge, and Halo 5's Forge is actually absolutely amazing. But it shows that there is a deficiency in the developer-made maps when the developer-made maps are being replaced in these map rotations by maps from the community, which, don't get me wrong, those maps are great, but they are at a disadvantage. They don't have the tools that 343 had when it comes to building a map because they're just stuck with the limitations of Forge. I will say one thing that I actually really liked about Halo 5 is this Magnum that you start with. I know some people didn't like that you're the strongest weapon, or like the starting weapon that everyone used was a sidearm instead of the battle rifle, but I thought the Magnum actually did a really good job, especially originally at launch. It did a really good job of giving the player a decent precision weapon, but one that wasn't like the battle rifle. It wasn't the best in almost every scenario, you know? You could pick up a battle rifle or a DMR if you wanted more of a long-range weapon, or even the light rifle in certain scenarios. Whereas in something like Halo 3, the only things you pick up are the straight-up power weapons. But in Halo 5, you know, there's a lot of weapons around the map that were worth picking up. Now, unfortunately, I think some of the benefits of that balance were completely undone when they nerfed the battle rifle, and now it has that really weird vertical recoil that you probably saw when I was shooting it a little bit ago. I think that completely ruined the kind of give and take that they had between the different weapons, where now I really don't see a use for the battle rifle at all. The pistol is pretty much better in all scenarios, as it has faster time to kill if you can hit all your shots, close range, medium range, and even without the kick, it's probably even still better long range, except at like super long ranges, which is only relevant in BTB or Warzone anyways. I think another kind of bummer of Halo 5 that honestly I don't see a lot of people talk about these days is just the complete lack of vehicles on non-BTB and Warzone maps. Something that I really enjoyed in some of the classic Halo games like Halo 3 is that Bungie incorporated vehicles into 4v4 maps. And sure, sometimes that isn't perfectly balanced, but I think it makes the maps feel different. And that's something that I just never felt when I'm playing Halo 5, as all of the maps, obviously they look different, but they kind of all kind of run together in my mind and play similar-ish. I know you can disagree with that, but it isn't the same as when you have completely different weapon sets on maps and things like vehicles on the maps. Those are going to totally change up the way you play. If you look at a map like Valhalla or Standoff or High Ground, any of those maps that were played as 4v4 maps, now obviously Valhalla and Standoff are maps that people don't necessarily love for 4v4, but those maps are played completely different because there's a focus on things like the Warthog, or on High Ground, not really as much, but you can use the Ghost to get kills, or on Isolation, you can use the Ghost to get kills in a non-BTB setting, which is I think something that Halo did that was unique to Halo. It had vehicles in a non-large scale way, and I think that was really cool, and we've kind of lost that in the recent Halo games, whereas now they've pretty much turned 4v4 Halo into just purely super competitive arena gameplay, and then you have BTB and Warzone, which were more of, you know, your classic Halo that has all the vehicles and all the wacky weapons and everything like that. I hope Infinite can do a better job mirroring the both. Obviously, your HCS playlist, that should be no vehicles, and it should be the weapons that are focused around being balanced and being competitive. But you can still have playlists on 4v4 maps that have fun things on them. Not everything needs to be perfectly balanced, which I know I keep saying this, but I think that was one of the biggest issues that Halo 5 had, obviously, besides people just not liking things like sprint and the thruster and the clamber. And I'm not going to get into that because, one, I think everyone's heard those discussions a billion times, and two, I just can't really care anymore. I get it. I think all of those things have changed the way that Halo is played, but I don't think they're as big a deal as people make them out to be. And you guys can disagree with me on that one in the comments if you want. If anything, I think Halo 5 was most hurt by Spartan Charge and Ground Pound, because those took abilities that used to, you know, not exist, and it turned them into like instant kill abilities where you can now ground pound someone out of the air and instantly kill them, or you could Spartan charge someone and do a ton of damage and then kill them. And that didn't exist even in the previous games that had sprint. I also kind of hope that Halo Infinite's weapons are a little bit less forgiving. I hope to see less magnetism and less aim assist, just so you can see more of a skill in actual gunplay, as opposed to just where I feel like most of Halo 5's skill cap is in the movement of the game. Whereas I would like to see in Infinite, if possible, I want to see people that are just absolutely sick aimers just dominate games at times. But I still want there to obviously be the opportunity for people that have really like mastered the mechanics of Halo Infinite to be able to also dominate games at times. So there's more of a balance to it. I also hope that in Halo Infinite, the auto rifles are less prevalent, especially in the competitive playlist. Now, I think that has changed a lot over the years of Halo 5, but at the start of Halo 5, even in the competitive HCS playlist, you're spawning with an assault rifle. There was all sorts of autos on the maps between SMGs and storm rifles and everything else, and it made the game kind of annoying to play at times, because not only did you have radar on in competitive, everyone also had autos, so it kind of slowed the games down a lot, because people would be crouching around corners, because, you know, obviously if you're running around and someone pops out on you with a storm rifle, doesn't matter how good you are with the pistol, you're going to lose that engagement every single time. Oh my god, I just got shit on. I don't, however, want the autos to be completely useless. I think they have a time and a place, but I think they need to be more focused on being purely like close range weapons or used in different scenarios. Whereas in Halo 5, a lot of the auto rifles, especially again toward the start before the balancing, had pretty decent damage at mid range, which I think kind of ruined the dynamic of Halo a bit. Oh yeah, stole that kill. Easy. Overall, I've been harping about the things I didn't like about Halo 5 a ton, but I just want to reiterate, I did like this game. I enjoyed what I played of it, and I played a lot at the time. I think I'm only about level 120 or something like that. But you do have to realize that this was level 120 within maybe the first 6 or so months, because most of my playtime is during that first 6 months, and after that I've played very, very seldom, which obviously I understand that's not even really halfway to max rank, but it's not like this is a game that I played twice and never touched again. I did play a decent amount. I grinded ranked, I grinded all these playlists. I didn't play a ton of Warzone, as that was more something I just played casually, and I didn't dislike Warzone, but I was not a fan of the fact that we had single-use rec packs, and that was the entire basis for a playlist in Halo. Not a fan of that at all, because it kind of made it seem like if you weren't willing to spend money, then you had limited quantities of the fun stuff, and that's just a bummer. But yeah, I mean, I played a decent amount of ranked. I hit champion in various playlists, and I never got it in Team Arena, but I was like 18 or 1900 probably at my peak, and that's why I wasn't good at Halo 5, but it's not like I was a silver Halo 5 player complaining about the mechanics of the game either. Anyways, that's going to do it for Halo 5. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a little bit more chill, and I kind of just wanted to hop back in and talk about Halo 5 a bit, because like I said, we just don't really talk about or play much Halo 5 on the channel, and I mean, that's not really going to change. But Halo Infinite's coming up, and hopefully the gameplay that we see this weekend at E3 just blows us away. We need a good Halo game, and I want a Halo game that unifies the community again. I'm so tired of everyone being split on what they like, and people like this game and people don't play this game. I just want all of us to get a new game and everyone to actually like it. Obviously that's impossible, but if we could get a majority of the community all on Infinite enjoying the game, I think that would be a big thing for Halo in general. If you want to catch me live where I stream, you know, surprisingly Halo, you can follow me over on Twitch. I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Saturdays are custom game nights, so if you guys like custom games, I recommend you follow me, and there will be a lot of those in Halo Infinite. Other than that, you can follow me over on Twitter. And with that said, I'll see you all next time.